John Alite. I'm back again with the mob, the Mafia, and the man. I'm Johnny Alite. Here's my co-host. What's your name again?
Mike Dowd.
All right.
Yeah. And who's the man anyway, by the way?
You're the man.
I'm the man. Oh, I got a title now.
But I got a special guest here. Anybody that, you know.
Why am I the man? Hold on. Before we get to our special guest, what makes me the man?
Well, we're going to have our special guest. I'm going to talk about why we think you're the man.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Who's our special guest?
Oh.
John. Carr. I'm not saying it. Yeah,
that was his part.
He's your guest.
Listen,
Jesus
he cuts
Christ.
me off for never letting him do it.
He's your guest.
John.
2015 he's been doing it. Yes. 2015.
And you know what the thing is? Everybody, if you like the show, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. My fans, my friends, soldiers out there, God bless America, everybody. John, tell us why he's the man, or what the hell he's talking about.
I have no idea what he's talking about. You got all dressed up today.
Again, I had a pink jacket on yesterday, and we went out to the Salt. You know the Salt Shack by you?
You went to that was the night before. Last night.
So don't confuse the audience.
Yes, that was the night.
But I had a pink jacket on, and 3 cops from New York City happened to be there and recognized me, so they knew who the man was. Do you know who the man is?
What did they say?
They want to know
What did they say?
They want to know who my friend was.
What did I? When I first met you, what did I tell you happened to me in the police academy? Because
you mean your push-ups?
I had to do a lot of push-ups. I had a lot of push-ups to do because of him.
Your chest is still big.
That's right.
Because of
I
it.
did.
That's
Now,
right.
Mike, I will tell you one thing. He is fucking funny though. He does keep you laughing. Mike does keep you laughing.
Well,
even I get a lot of heat for being with him. You imagine that? That switched around.
You guys, all right, this is the new show. It's the man, the myth, the legend, or is the mob?
No, we didn't give you the legend stuff.
Oh, the kid called me a legend last night. Some kid.
He was drunk.
That talking?
The drunk guy.
I met them.
Oh, you saw him?
I was there.
I forgot that John was there.
Let's tell everybody what Mike was doing with the kid. He's a good-looking kid in his 20s. Mike was using him as bait.
Yes.
To bring women into.
Yes, he was. We called him our poodle. And the girls went crazy for him. Didn't
we
they?
got enough problems. He says maybe we should buy a Maltese. I says for what? When we go to the beach. I go, you got that kid Ben. He's a pro. He's going to be a pro athlete. Probably. He's a great pitcher.
I would rent you a little white dog to walk around with, just to watch you walk around with a little white dog on the beach.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
How far you fallen from the movie?
Hey, listen. I was also stealthier back then before COVID. I was.
You got to tell a story about how you walked around a prison yard 97 fucking times and you had a six-pack.
Yes, 15.
Because nobody's ever heard the story.
15 miles a day.
The only other guy was Mickey Monday who could walk fast.
Let me get control of him, John, before we go all over. Because since you brought up prison, I got to ask you a question.
Uh-oh.
John Smollett.
Jesse Smollett. Yeah.
John,
excuse me. I'm saying John, me and you.
That's right.
Jesse. And I just did something on him yesterday, but I want to know what your take is on it.
No, listen. Look, his demeanor at his sentencing told you everything you need to know about him. What a whiny little bitch. This guy, here's the worst part of this. Let's call it what it was. This was blatant racism on his part.
Yeah.
He was ready to let any random innocent white guys go to prison, but it's worse than that, right? They would have been convicted in Chicago, no problem.
Right.
Their families would have been ostracized. Their cars and homes would have been destroyed. Yeah. Everybody around them would have lost their jobs. Mm-hmm. They'd have been canceled on all social media. Their names would have been dirt for the rest of their lives. And they would have been completely innocent because he fabricated it. Right. So he got 150 days. Did I expect them to get more? 5 months, right? Did I expect them to get more? No. Because they didn't kill anybody.
Right.
But this guy needs to be blacklisted in Hollywood. You said something last night that was real smart, John. Yeah, it's true. If you're woke, you should go broke.
You're broke.
What he did trying to frame people, that did nothing.
Yeah.
It's not even like people wronged him. He made it up.
Yeah, but you know.
He made it up.
And he walked around with a noose on his neck for like
a lunatic.
A couple hours.
And people ask me. People ask me why I made this statement. Anybody who knows this show?
Don't you take the noose off your neck when?
Yeah, but can we get into that for a second? I hate about the lynchings. Nobody's getting lynched anymore. They're all upset because the Senate wouldn't pass the anti-lynching bill. Isn't lynching already fucking illegal?
It was a crime.
Lynching. Who's getting lynched? Let's talk about black on black crime. Let's talk about the fact that a black man, 18 to 24, commits murder at rates 22 times their representation in the population. They kill other black men 18 to 24 at rates 20 times their representation in the population. They're murdering at rates 9 times white men of the same age. But when you talk about that, you're a racist. So stop with this shit. And then you want to deflect
facts?
with
lynching. You mean the inconvenient facts?
That's not a Cardillo, Alite, or Dowd fact. That is the FBI, Department of Justice, BCJ, Bureau of Justice Statistics. It is fact. And when you look at U.S. Census tracts in places like St. Louis, Detroit, Chicago, those numbers are 50 times, 60 times the representation in the population. But the news cycle, somebody tried to lynch this. First, he wasn't important enough to try to lynch.
No,
then
really.
the other moron, Bubba Wallace,
with the
garage
door handle.
lynching 47 FBI agents. So only people get lynch are black celebrities.
But there's a computer filled with a little guy with his Dickie and Dickie. And,
but
whatever.
Let me get
not the neck Dickie, the little Dickie.
I want to get back to something.
What is he talking to the Dickie?
But
there's a guy with his Dickie and all kinds of things on a computer.
Evan, can I
and his father's somebody.
Guy with the.
I got to stop him.
The guy
I can't get a word in on my show.
John, please go ahead because I don't hear about Dickies anymore.
We used to wear a Dickie in the NYPD. Did you not?
No, I had a real turtleneck. You're a little older than I am.
Did you?
And I'm talking about the water pistol one. From now on, when he does it, he doesn't let me back in.
Some people put the
and we hit him
Dickie
with the
on
string of
You're
water goes on.
You're gonna need a fire extinguisher.
Some people put the Dickie someplace else.
Can you give the host the floor, please?
This is what happens when I call him the man.
Okay, I'm sorry.
You see?
He
wants to run with it.
You wind him up.
Yeah.
And he goes.
Listen,
Yeah.
I slept on an ottoman last night. I slept on an ottoman, John. Where did your guests sleep last night?
I don't have guests. I'm very antisocial.
So this show is about being pro-American,
Yes.
pro-veterans, right? Pro-youth and unite people.
First
and pro-police.
responders. First responders.
For
in
everybody
general.
knows how I feel. And that means not to be prejudiced against anybody's color, religion, geography of where they're born, nationality, or being gay, being straight, being LGBT, or any other thing. We don't judge anybody here. And I personally take offense to people like Jesse that tries to divide people by color, race, nationality, or religion. So my take on him is, the problem is a lot of our own politicians try to get this divide in this country.
John, look.
And somebody like him runs with it.
Here's the problem, right? You just nailed it.
I'm going to cut you off 1 second. I just want to make sure you.
Well, you already cut them off.
If you say Dickie again, I'm taking out a fire extinguisher.
The Berman Law Firm, the team at the Berman Law Firm, they also stand behind what John just said.
That was a good plug. You just worked that right in. That was smooth.
That's all I want to say right now. I'm done.
But no, all kidding aside, look, to John's point.
For real. That's how they are here.
The left is a sea of false narratives. So you take Jussie Smollett, right? Everybody wants you to forget this, but what happened about 4 days after he fabricated that hoax? Kamala Harris, the now sitting vice president of the United States, stood next to him with her fist in the air, like John Carlos and what's his name on the Olympic podium in '68.
The Black Power fist.
More importantly, though, look at what's going on in Florida right now. The governor of Florida is, I think, Ron DeSantis. I know him. I think he's the most effective politician in America, maybe in modern history in many respects. Right. Florida.
Do you know him?
Yeah, I know the governor. Florida passes a bill recently. Both houses, the governor's going to sign it. That is erroneously and maliciously being called the Don't Say Gay bill.
Attacking this bill.
Now, this bill is about 2 pages, very easy to read, about 1,900 words in total. It's like a magazine article. And when you read the bill, what the bill really is, first of all, they're calling it the Don't Say Gay bill. Right. Here's why that's so egregious. The word gay doesn't appear once in the bill. Right. What the bill says, and there's something called justreadthebill.com. It's not me making this up. Right. Basically, I'll paraphrase it and give you the synopsis. If you have a child in elementary school, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, what the bill says is that faculty, people they bring in, radical leftists, whoever it may be, cannot talk to your children about sexually explicit topics like gender reassignment surgery, transgenderism, and if they do, parents must be notified. That's all it says. Right. Nowhere in the bill that you can't say gay, it's anti-LGBT, nothing to do. If you want to be honest about what the bill is a parental discretion, parental notification bill. Right. The left has now gotten, and when you watch the way the left operates, you'll see the same talking points. So now the mainstream media, the corporate media,
it's all spinning around now.
Celebrities on network television shows, they'll all regurgitate and recycle those same talking points. This is not a bill about that. But 85 to 87%, maybe 90% of the corporate media, without, bar none, are calling it in lockstep the Don't Say Gay bill. Florida wants to demonize gay kids. So now what happens? These radical leftist teachers unions start galvanizing kids. Right. The kids walk outside of school and they're screaming the word gay because that's their protest where you can't say gay. But the bill doesn't say that. It doesn't say it. You've got an MD, the last point, I forget his name, but he's a pretty well-known gay activist on Twitter, but he's an MD. The guy is a medical doctor and a successful one, out there saying, he's got a picture of him and his husband and his 2 kids, and look, this is what they want to cancel. This is what conservatives in Florida, they want to eradicate us and kill us. I'm paraphrasing. He's a doctor. It's 1,900 words. Read the fucking bill. It has nothing to do with what you're alleging. This happens every day in this country, and nobody pushes back. DeSantis pushed back. Trump would push back. Very few others are willing to push back.
Well, what they should do is add in that bill, and I never read the bill yet, but they should add in that bill that no teacher should speak to any kid about any kind of sex.
Well, that's
heterosexual.
Well, that's essentially what it is. Yeah.
Right. It shouldn't be aimed
not at that age.
No, not at that age. Not at that age. I'm talking about.
Right. Yeah.
When a kid goes into
more specific.
high school or something, that's a different story of where those laws are going to stand.
But this is also saying
as adolescents,
the parents should have control.
Yeah, the parents should have control.
Yeah.
And it's nobody's place to talk to their child. Maybe the child at that young age is gay. That's between that personal family.
The family. That's the family.
Nobody outside the
That's right.
family should. And this is the reason why a lot of these kids have psychological problems. Not just, I'm not talking about just in the space of a gay or straight or heterosexual or whatever, bisexuality or transgender. This is not about that. This is about personal family.
It's about discretion. It's about
raising discretion
Family
dynamics.
But I'll tell you guys.
But it shouldn't be in one category of heterosexual or gay.
I'll tell you guys an anecdote, though, and this is why this stuff concerns me. So about a couple of months ago, I was talking to a guy, and we were traveling together to a trade show.
Did you know
him? Did I know him? Yeah, and I knew him. I said, yes, Mike, I knew him. It's a random guy.
It's a random guy. I don't know. You met in the subway.
He was telling me how his teenage daughter is feeling like she might be a boy. So I said to him, look, I said, does your daughter really feel that way, or is it peer pressure at school? Without missing a beat, he goes, oh, no, peer pressure. I said, then why are you entertaining it? Well, I don't want her to feel accepted. I go, but what do you mean peer pressure? He says, well, he said, when I go in her room now, I see that she's got Vogue and Elle magazine, and she's looking at skirts and dresses, but she's so afraid to admit that she feels like a girl because the academic environment is so far left that for actually being a biological girl and feeling like one, she'll be ostracized now and lose friends. And the kid's afraid of being called a bigot. Now, these people are morons, right? Because if you say you're a boy, you're a girl, they call you racist. I don't know how the fuck that all works. But you're a boy, you're a girl.
That's racist.
Really? You're a racist.
And if you're on time for work, you're a racist.
You're a racist. If you're on time, you pay bills, you're a racist. If you have a good credit score, you're a racist. If you drive
a lot of things that make us racist.
You have insurance registration and a driver's license, you're a racist.
Holding a job and having a license.
If you inhale, then exhale, you're a racist. So, but all jokes aside, so this kid is now being forced to be something she's not for fear of being ostracized because the environment in schools has become so radically far left. And let me tell you something, guys. That's the norm. That's the rule. That's not the exception.
Wow. So I wanted to ask you before, John, because
please don't tell me you're transitioning.
I've been working on that. It's a process.
That'd be horrific.
Yeah, they've had one little thing.
Maybe not.
One little clipping.
He's not doing that good.
There's one minor clipping. There's one minor clipping left.
Mike is transitioning into a normal human being.
There's a minor clipping left. Anyway, John. So, but people don't know is that you're a Newsmax.
I haven't been in Newsmax for 2 years. I used to be.
But you were.
Yeah.
So, what you made a statement earlier about the talking points that spin around the industry. Yeah. So, from your perspective, you have a little bit more veracity.
So let me tell you,
speak of that.
Yeah, it's not, and this is not a concept. Most of your networks. In fact, I don't know one that doesn't do this. Okay. They'll send an email around of the suggested stories of the day. Everyone, bar none, whether it be radio or television, there are morning meetings, early morning meetings, where the news director or the COO or the CEO, whoever's responsible for dictating the editorial, the content for that day, will tell you, these are the things we're going to talk about. We suggest you phrase this way. So when we say that, when I tweet something out or other people that understand this say, well, look, this is coordinated messaging on the part of the Democrats, for example. Right. And you're a conspiracy theorist. No, they're wrong. I mean, it's not. This is how the industry works, right? If you're the service manager at a Ford dealership and a new bulletin came out the night before about a recall, you're going to call your guys in that morning and say, okay, the F-150 has this issue, blah, blah, blah. This is how we're going to handle it. This is how we're going to message to the customer. It's no different. And that's what happens every morning in whether it be radio, digital like this, podcast, television, written. They tell you what stories to cover. Now, you have some discretion, but let's face it, if you deviate too much for too many days, they're going to find somebody who won't.
Right. Well, that's the reason why viewership is, falling.
Yeah.
And it's such a fall off to listening to shows like mine.
Yeah, and you provide new content, right?
New content, and I give nothing but facts. I don't really give my own opinion on some of this. My opinion, everybody knows, is I like people to be united, not to hate each other. Because of my background and because of what happened to me growing up.
I thought this was an opinion show.
Huh?
This isn't an opinion show?
Like The View?
You like The View?
Like The View, when you're not allowed your opinion? On my show, you can have an opinion.
Opinion show.
And I keep an open mind. There's a difference.
We need to get him on The View.
Yeah.
You imagine
Listen,
me and
you get somebody like Whoopi Goldberg that made such an outrageous statement about the Holocaust and got away with a 2-week, just a 2-week vacation.
And Roseanne was canceled.
Right. So
or far less.
When they do this is really, and this is again why nobody really listens to these shows for any kind of media. Maybe entertainment of whatever they're talking outside politics and their understanding of what people think about.
What about those Mets?
But John,
what about those Mets?
But But John raises a good point when he talks about politics, right? Let's go back to your background. Right? I mean, to survive in that world, at the end of the day, yeah, you've got to be tough and yeah, you've got to be street smart. But at the end of the day, correct me if I'm wrong, John, you got to know how to be a politician.
100% you have to be a politician.
And so what I try to explain to people is, and
you got to be a chameleon.
You got to be a chameleon, and you got to realize that politics, I would argue that politics is far more vicious than the Cosa Nostra. Because at least those guys do it for money.
Well, you know what they are when they come into that life.
Yeah. You know what they are when they come into life, and money's a motivator.
Right.
If you're an earner, you're probably not going to get killed.
But I'm going to tell you, I said this before on other shows, the street guys, although I'm not advocating for that life for any kid out there, and everybody knows I talk against the street, those guys do love this country. I don't know too many guys that are from the street that talk against America.
No.
The problem I'm seeing in the government now, there's so many people to the far, far left. When we were growing up, the Democratic Party, guys like me, actually, I was,
but they had the American flag on their hard hat.
Yes.
When they went to swing a hammer.
They were middle of the road.
Yeah.
And the Republican Party was a little the other way to the right. They were a little leaning to the left. It was a middle ground.
Well, they're always
now you don't have a middle ground.
You don't have it anymore.
You have extreme left,
and
then you have the right, and you have independents. I think I'm more so an independent, really, than extreme.
Yeah, but everybody, I think everybody should look. I know I'm a crazy right winger, right? But it's formed through. So go back to what I was just the point I was trying to make.
You're really not that crazy, John, and you're actually libertarian, if you ask me.
I am socially libertarian.
Yeah,
you're right about that.
Yeah,
I am.
I know you're well enough.
I'm just impressed you knew that word.
The libertarian part?
I got him studying before
what it
we
meant.
go on the show now. I make him study.
I really don't know what it means.
Listen, I got him. I told him he'll read this before we go on.
I'm just a dumb cop.
No, but what I'm trying to say, and Mike, you and I have actually had this conversation. Mike and I have.
Yes.
When you look at the motivation of people in the political space, so what I'm getting at is you got a bunch of wise guys on the street. They're all out there trying to make a buck, right? If a guy's making some money, he's relatively safe if he's not screwing anybody. Politics, they're far more vicious. You've got GS-12s out there making $70,000 a year who can't be fired, but they're able to fire a drone and kill people. They don't want to give that power up. It's not about money.
Yeah.
So their buddies, when we talk about the deep state, you hear the deep state.
Yeah.
It's not this.
They're not sitting around cooking it up. They're not cooking it up.
Right. It's not this dark room with cigarette smoke.
I want the reading glasses. I'm sorry.
It's not that. It's just a bunch of bureaucrats who don't want to give up their power and they don't care about money. And people that aren't motivated by money are dangerous.
Can I take a break for a second, guys? I want to read something to the people out there that, and this is what life's about. This is a friend of mine. His son, Philip, and his friend m.i.a, they raised $163,000 for cancer. It set a Delaware state record for the single largest raise of money for cancer by a school group. Wow. They beat out all the other groups by 100,000.
That's big.
Together, the two of them really, they deserve what we try to talk about, the positivity of some of the young people that are out there. His name is Philip Himmelich. His father's my good friend, Bob, gentleman, raised his kids right. He lost his mom at a young age, and he made some sacrifices. School is Archmere Academy in Delaware. So
that's a big win.
I want to give them a shout out to what they're doing. We have some photos, and we're going to put it up. And when people are talking about negative things, that go on in the world. There's a lot of positive kids like this.
There's a ton of
And this
positive,
depends on the parenting. And some of us are not in a situation that have parents. And then people are making excuses for these kids. Like I don't make excuses for the rotten life I live, and I try to pass it up. So going back to what we were talking about with
but John, you're one of the only guys that's on it. You get on here, you admit what you did, you don't pull punches, you don't blame it on somebody else, and you're telling kids, look, this is who I am, and you're still the same guy. You just figured out a better way to go down a road. But I think that's a powerful message when you're not trying to. And the same thing for Mike. I've never heard Mike one day. I bust his chops, I joke, but he's never one day, not one conversation. We've been friends, 7, 8 years now. Blamed what he did on anybody else, taking responsibility for every single thing.
That's why I talk negative against Jesse, right? Smollett. Because
he's right.
If he wanted to do something, he does have power with his because he's an actor.
He could say, I'm sorry.
No, not even. He shouldn't have went down that road. He should have brought in people and got them together, whether they're straight, whether they're gay, whether they're bisexual, whether they're not heterosexual, and try to put down kids together and did something positive.
You know what's dumb
to get his word out, not this way.
And you know what's dumb about him? He did this, right, presumably because he was going to be written off the show. Now, you guys are all...
Yeah, we know why he did it.
You all worked in the entertainment business.
Right.
I've been in it, right? So you could be on top of the world 1 minute, you're out the next.
They don't even know your phone number.
But let's be realistic here. He was on a top-rated show. Yeah. The audience doesn't know why you're written off a show. They don't care. Right. You're still a celebrity.
Right.
He was a gay black celebrity, meaning his media stock was as high as it could possibly be.
Right.
This guy, with the right PR, not doing something stupid like he did, could have been directing, producing, and the star of a show in a year, making 3 times the 80 grand an episode he was making, but he was a spoiled brat. Yeah. He was pissed off that he was being written off the show, presumably, and he wanted instant solution, instant gratification, and that's what he did, where if he would have kept his powder dry, now they went to the guy's apartment, right? It didn't look like much. It was in Chicago. He was making 80 grand an episode. He was on that show a few years ago.
Well, he turned against his 2 black friends that testified against him.
Right. Well, I'm saying he had some money in the bank.
So, yeah.
Right? This guy could have afforded to hang out for a year and look for his next opportunity, which absolutely would have come. Right? His best friend Kamala Harris is in the White House. This guy was getting another show.
He was friends with everyone in politics.
With everyone in politics in Hollywood. Yeah. So...
Well, they actually tried to.
He needs to be blacklisted.
They actually tried to block that prosecution of him originally.
They tried. Listen,
and Obama's wife stepped in. That's right, Michelle.
Yeah,
and people can't forget that because, well, by supporting them, they're supporting somebody again that's is pro-racism, somebody that's hurting all these kids instead of uniting these kids. This doesn't matter what color or anything else, and you can say this to your blue in the face. You know, anybody that was part of helping him,
that's right,
is the same thing. Same thing is part of spreading racism.
Here's what they don't want to talk about, and this was something that the media never brought up. I tweeted it out. Young black kids, primarily men, are being killed every night in Chicago. How many murders happened when he took all those cops off the street that night? How many resources did he redirect? Mike understands what I mean. Something called directed patrol, right? You saturate an area with uniformed cops. The bad guys go away. He pulled all those resources to a ritzy area of Chicago for a crime that never happened. How many kids got shot, killed? How many women got raped, robbed? Because he pulled those resources
Because
away.
I'm going to tell you, being a street guy before.
Yeah.
We think it's good that they're taking away the police from our areas. Of
course.
Because we're criminals.
They get the free run.
But
get a free run.
That's as a kid, because I was committing crimes. As an adult, I say these son of a bitches know that we're going to kill each other and they don't care.
Right.
So they're conning these kids because as kids, we're not educated enough to know. So that's why I speak out like this, because I don't want to see those kids go to jail. I don't want to see them get locked up. I'm trying to protect them from committing crimes.
Nobody does.
Although they might take it the wrong way because there's still the mindset I used to have as a criminal. So when someone, let's say Whoopi Goldberg, that opens her mouth, or Joy Reid, or any of these people that I think are racist the other way, especially Joy Reid, they don't know. They can't possibly talk what I'm speaking because they were never in my position. They didn't come from a communist country like my family. They weren't Muslim born like I was in my family. They weren't in prisons like me. They didn't commit crimes like me. They didn't spend years in solitary confinement. So when they're talking, they're just hurting those kids I'm trying to help. I'm trying to unite those kids and tell them, listen, there's such a better way. Don't listen to these people but making you sound like you're a victim. We're not victims unless we want to be victims.
You know, John, I'm glad you brought that up. So I have this conversation all the time with people, and when they call me racist, right, because I have conservative positions, and I'll bring in the FBI crime stats. And I'm like, What are you, nuts? You want to see, you love that the incarceration rates and conviction rates of blacks. I'm like, are you nuts? First of all, as a conservative, we're free marketeers, right? Yeah. We want the free market to drive the economy, not government. Well, we'd be a hell of a lot better off if everybody was at least middle class, right?
Sure.
I mean, I don't care what color.
Working, not sucking.
To John's point when he opened the show, I don't care what color you are. I don't care who you sleep with. I don't care what your religion. I couldn't care less. I don't care. Produce. Be a producer.
Right.
And if everybody.
Something positive.
But the Democrats, the left, they can't afford that. Because if everybody was
can't control them.
They can't control them. If black families, they can't control them. And they can't buy their votes with entitlement programs.
That's right.
And their party and their movement falls apart. It ceases to, if everybody is working and everybody is on the right path and they're ascending up to better jobs and making more money, the Democratic Party, the American left, evaporates. It evaporates because they bring nothing to the table.
The current Democratic Party.
Well, I don't.
The current
but I'm going to tell you,
Democratic
I don't
Party.
care what party is. If it's Democrat,
any party of entitlement evaporates.
Right.
Whatever
because
it means.
when you're trying to hold down a whole
Yeah.
group of people by causing them to have division with other people.
And by telling them they're victims.
Right.
They're victims.
Well, they know what
By
they're doing.
telling them they're victims.
And they want them to buy into it so they can control them.
You're
I
too
get it.
stupid and incompetent
That's insane.
to get a license
I have
to
black
show
friends
ID to vote.
that are so embarrassed by some of this stuff that they don't even want to talk about.
How many guys
They
did we
won't
work
even-
with on the job? All jokes aside, before you had your problems.
Yeah.
Black cops. Did black cops not get more abuse than we ever did?
10 times.
10 times.
10 times.
At least 10 times.
10 times. Yeah.
The names they were called were disgraceful. They took abuse every day.
Every day.
Not from the other cops.
No.
They were your partner.
They were your buddy.
They were wearing blue.
I'd have them at barbecues at my house.
That's right.
Okay.
And you're hanging out with them at night and they're staying over your house.
Right.
That's not who they were taking abuse from.
When I was a kid, the staple for me was to come downstairs, pour myself a bowl of cereal, put that cereal box right in front of me, and read the box. And it was great. I did it every single morning. As I got older, I realized all the garbage that was in those cereals, the sugar, the chemicals. I didn't want to take away that staple to my children, so I had to seek out healthy alternatives, and Magic Spoon answered that.
Well, I had a similar experience because of my father. He always wanted us eating healthy with vitamins and working out. And when Magic Spoon stepped in, it's tasty and it's very healthy for you. There's no sugars and it's low calorie and it's everything I'm looking for a healthy cereal for me and my family.
Well, you know, a lot of people like to cut carbs these days. I think there's like 4 net grams of carbs in there. So if you're looking for a healthy lifestyle alternative, but you don't want to give up all the good stuff, that's where Magic Spoon comes in.
Magic Spoon, 0 grams of sugar, 13 to 14 grams of protein, and only 4 net grams of carbs in each serving. Only 140 calories per serving. They're also keto-friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, soy-free, and low-carb. And Magic Spoon is so confident in their product, it backed it with 100% happiness guaranteed. So if you don't like it for any reason, they'll refund your money. No questions asked. So click the link below and use the code ELITE for $5 off. Also, for my Canadian and British fans, Magic Spoon is shipping to Canada and the UK. I got mad. Do you remember when I did the show, I think last time, when they had the gay parade and they didn't let cops in it if they were gay because they were cops?
Yeah, it's so stupid.
I says, after being people being so prejudiced against you for being gay, how can you possibly say that to another gay person because she's wearing a uniform?
And this is it's a big deal for Mike because he was the president of
Gay
Gold.
Gay
He was the
Officers Awareness
president
League.
of
The Gay
Gold.
Officers Awareness League.
The Gay Officers Action League.
Was it action?
Maybe it's awareness
Or
now. It's a softer.
awareness? Oh, yeah.
I thought it was action.
It was
back-
action back then. Yeah.
Now it's awareness.
Anybody knows in the mob.
When I was involved with
Anybody
action.
knows in the mob, divide and conquer is the way to power and strength.
Right.
So I see through all this. I grew up in this. I understand this. So I'm the guy that says, hey, I'm from this neighborhood with you guys. From Jamaica and East New York, Brownsville, South Jamaica. Those are my areas. I know what they're trying to do to these kids. I know they're trying to divide them. I know they're trying to make them victims. I know they want them to justify in their mind that they're victims. This way they can hold them down and keep them down.
But John, that's important for people to understand because they hear it in the abstract, but they hear a guy that came off the street who lived it, and a white guy who was alongside these kids of color, right, Hispanic and black. Explain it a little bit. Go into weeds. That's important as to how they do it.
The problem that I told Mike the other day, we're having a conversation, we're driving in a car. And I said, you know what the problem
When
is?
he's not sleeping or texting somebody else or whatever.
He needs to get,
Some of the
he
text
needs to get
messages.
shot with that
You
water
can't
gun.
believe what
From
happens.
now on, what do you
You
guys,
can't
when he
believe-
interrupts me,
you
hit him
can't
with the water
believe
gun.
The text
He'll
message.
be like he got out of a pool.
And by the way, he's a
show is
one
over.
finger. He's a one finger guy. So the text message takes him 15 minutes to get a one.
I'm going to name Mike's new podcast Tangents or Digression. Digression with Mike Dowd.
Hey, everybody asks me, how do you let him keep cutting you off? I go, I don't know. We're going to have a fight one of these days. We're on the air.
All right, don't matter. It's gonna go. It's not gonna be long. It won't be a long one.
It won't be. So I'm going to tell you what I told him. Right now, tell me I didn't say this. I told him, I said, you know what? We were kids and we don't have anything, and we got holes in our sneakers, and we see people with money. We never think in our minds we can get out of here doing the right
Was
thing.
English your first language as a kid or second?
Yes,
it was your first
yeah,
language.
Yeah,
Okay.
I spoke about it as a kid,
Right.
and you forget it and whatever.
Right.
But my family was very traditional Albanian.
Right,
We
right,
all
right.
lived in 3 floors of Albanian in the house. None of our friends would come in that were allowed in the house because it's your family.
Right.
You had to take your shoes off before you rented.
You still do that.
Yeah,
You
all
still
this
do that.
If we didn't eat all food, couldn't get off the table. because
Okay.
You don't throw away
It's a
food.
very traditional family.
Traditional. So, yeah, I still.
He still takes his shoes
Yeah.
off.
But I didn't think I can get out of the neighborhood, and all these kids, because we're not, nobody's showing us anything.
Right.
You know, even our parents, they didn't know any better. They're immigrants. They didn't understand. My father dropped out of school in the 3rd grade. These other kids, my friends, didn't have parents. So when we're growing up together, and it's a mixed neighborhood, and when you're growing up together, there is no racism between us because we're all, we go
Look,
to
I grew
school
up in
together.
Queens. I know. My buddy
We didn't
Mike
go to
over here. He grew up in
private
Flushing.
schools.
He
Yeah.
knows, same kind of neighborhood.
So, and in my neighborhood, we just didn't believe we had a shot. So we went right into illegal activity as kids. Small things. We'd rob fireworks. We robbed swag. We try to sell swag. We're stealing parking meters. as kids.
Petty shit to start, and
Petty
then it
shit
comes up.
because that's the way to get our money up.
Right.
So we could go buy a pair of sneakers.
And no one was giving you money at the house.
So when someone's telling a kid, like now, I hate to curse on here, these effing politicians that are teaching these kids it's okay to steal up to 800 or 900. You purposely don't want them to work. You purposely don't want them in school. And you purposely, at the end of all this, want to fuck them. I'm sorry to use that language. And then you're
it's
going to give
true.
them 20 years. And then you're going to say, oh, they're bad kids. No, you tried to make them bad kids.
You manufactured-
You
look,
try to manufacture and brainwash them into saying
nobody
they're
wants
not
to
worth
work.
anything and you're never going to be worth anything.
That's right. And
that's
this-
my problem with it, and that's why I keep getting so aggressive. Not aggressive,
I think you're right,
verbally
John.
aggressive towards politicians
Yeah. But look
in
what
general.
look what they did the last 2 years. Look, anecdotal. Talking to at the club I belong to, Beach Club, the head of food and beverage, a good friend of mine. They're very short-staffed. Very short-staffed, right? This is in a nice resort in South Florida. You think anybody want to work there? The staff makes good money. Yeah. I said to him, Joe, what's good? He says, John, I got 30 resumes on my desk. He said, I call them. They either don't call back, or if they do, they don't show up because they got so much free money for the last 2 years. Right. The Dunkin Donuts, I go to every morning for my coffee in my neighborhood. The sign outside has gone from...
buy you coffee when you're going through there? No. I only got somebody
exactly.
buy you coffee once.
No.
Everybody else gets there with a person in front of you. But
He's right. It was $500 if you went to work at Dunkin' Donuts.
Bonus.
Wait, it might have been $500, and it was $12 an hour, and then $13 an hour if you were a donut decorator. Now it's up to $900 with the hourly up $2 and $3.
No,
right after the show, I'm
they
going
still
to
can't find bodies.
No, we'll start get a job, stay there a week, we go to the next Dunkin'
How long you got to
Donuts.
stay?
We
How
make-
long you got to stay? That's the
$15.
thing.
Yeah.
What's Burger King giving?
I would give anything to watch you decorate donuts. I think that would be...
Oh, fuck no.
I gotta say
That would
something.
be a
I don't even know what he would do
I
with the
gotta
long...
tell you, he's a
That's
little
neat.
little
Don't do
nutty.
that. Not
I'm
on
gonna
here.
give you a compliment if you let me finish.
Okay.
One thing about him is, believe it or not, he's a little perky and kirky and whatever else at times, but he's really a good housewife.
Yeah, I am pretty good at that.
I was going to say, people would laugh at me if I said this. He'd be like a good babysitter.
Yeah,
Like,
he's good.
I am.
He's
I
good.
really
He
am.
makes you laugh. He makes sure you're
as
comfortable.
weird as
He
that
always has
sounds.
coffee, water. He feeds
like,
you. He gives you the right vitamins and fruits.
and
He'd be like a good nanny for a rich, like a rich old lady in
Oh,
Palm
I'd be
Beach.
perfect.
Yeah.
I'd be perfect. I'm looking for that job.
He could be that, like a dirty grandpa.
I put mints on your. I put mints on your. Did I put mints and chocolates on your pillow?
Yeah, that's when we crossed the line. I didn't trust you after that. I locked myself.
Stop. John, I wanted to ask you, John, because of our experience. Now, people don't even know that John was a New York City detective for 10 years. Well, not a detective for 10 years. But
Well, if they watch our other show, they did.
So go ahead.
So today, I look at it from my perspective, was the 80s to 90s.
Yeah. Generationally, it changed, right? Yeah.
You come in the 90s and you do to 2000 and when?
Yeah, early 2000s, yeah.
So here's the question I get asked often now. People ask me, so compare the 80s and the 90s, let's say, in your era where you went into the 2000s, to what's going on right now for the police perspective. So,
Yeah, it's interesting. That's a good question, right? So all jokes aside,
because when I was in the street, and just let me, it was a bloodbath.
It was a bloodbath.
Okay, so now it may not be that, but
no. So good question, right? So here's what was interesting. I come on right at the end of Dinkin's run. So crime's crime's still high, but you single-handedly changed the NYPD, right?
I did. Yes,
he does. Because of Dowd and your Q and the crew and Kenny Urell and those guys. Internal Affairs now becomes the most well-funded bureau. It becomes a bureau. It used to be a division.
Now it's a
then
bureau.
It becomes a bureau, meaning it has its own 3-star chief, its own deputy commissioner, the whole bit. It also then got money first.
See, I did do a lot.
The most money. Well, in a weird way. I mean,
I really did.
reformed the
In a
department.
way, you made it go forward.
And, and then anybody getting promoted, sergeant, lieutenant, etc. Internal Affairs had first crack at them.
Right.
So the department culturally changed a lot. Giuliani, I tell everybody this though. So okay, that's the internal.
Right.
So the effect on the street, and I try to explain this to people. They say, well, no, you just boost up Rudy because you know him. No. As a rookie cop, walking a foot post in the Bronx.
Right.
2 o'clock in the morning by yourself, another cop every 2 blocks.
I remember you telling me
right?
this story.
You noticed the change in about 2 weeks after Giuliani took off. I'm not saying crime fell off a cliff,
right?
But the bad guys knew the party was over.
It was over.
They knew the party was over.
Correct.
You'd walk by and they would actually mutter, because if you remember the Daily News or the Post said, right when he was inaugurated, the Daily News is more left wing, it's Giuliani time, and they had the cops beating people.
Yeah.
But the bad guys on the stoops were like, it's Giuliani. You know, they
I
knew it.
They,
Like, but it wasn't that he was encouraging it to be brutal. No. Giuliani, one of the things he did that people wouldn't know, and why would they? Right, he comes off a run as a successful prosecutor. How many of your buddies did he put away? Right,
Put all
of them away.
And you're pretty tight. You like Giuliani.
I like Giuliani a lot. I got a lot of respect because I think different than when I was a criminal.
Right.
I said this guy's the greatest mayor
but
around.
You also know, as an adversary, he was a guy you didn't underestimate.
Everybody respect him, but he made the city safe for our families, our kids.
Right.
So what Rudy did though to the police department was, and you were already gone. He would so. Michael knows this. Something called the finest system in the New York City Police Department, and every day, 24 hours a day, it just generates information.
Out information.
And it could be anything, John. It could be anything. It's a new
Dowd's been arrested again.
New legal bureau. We are going to buy 5 more Ford Explorers. Dowd's been arrested. John Smith is now.
Dowd's been witnessed. Dowd's witnessed in Brooklyn again.
Dowd's in witness protection. Dowd's in federal. No. But it gives you. So Rudy was the first mayor really that ever got his hands on the legal bulletins, and basically what he did changed the department for the better. He started drafting, let's call it a toolbox for cops. You haven't been told what you're allowed to do constitutionally. I'm going to give you guys like 50 more tools in your toolbox. Stop and frisk. These are the laws you should enforce. These are the easy ones to make arrests for quality of life. And it worked. Right. It worked. And you saw the effect. Within 2 months, it was demonstrable. You could see it. Today.
And you felt it.
You felt it.
You felt it.
You felt the culture.
You felt it.
To sort of find out.
Because it's a feeling.
My final point on your question, it is a feeling. Yeah. And people felt it. And they felt safe.
Yeah, so just so you know, we have a guest waiting right behind you.
Yeah.
Tight. So we run a
we're
tight.
Gonna do it. So I'll just finish the point about your question about, so today, what concerns me the most is, obviously, the cops are handcuffed, right? You got these crazy leftists telling cops, you can't do this, you can't do that. But worse, they are hiring a lower caliber of cop. You did what you did despite the background. I mean, our background was pretty extensive. It took me a year to get hired. From when I got that letter, took the test, you get the letter. It's a year before you go to the academy, right? And you're with the background.
Listen, I had a good background. My father was a fireman. My whole family's civil service.
By all rights,
I just took the
by all rights and accounts, you should have been hired.
Because
I know of your family. Good American family.
Yeah.
Right. What you did, you did. But my point is, they don't do that now. So now they're actually, and they're proactively looking for cops that share the Bill de Blasio mentality and this radical far left thug coddling mentality. Man, it is going to get dangerous for people because this is different than a mayor who does it. You only got to wait him out for 4 years.
Right.
Now you got to wait out the woke cops for 20.
20.
And it's going to be very dangerous in these cities.
Because the cops the cops are now
the cops are now the problem.
Now part of the problem. Right. Now the problem. I just witnessed an arrest that they had it on. Someone took did you show it to me? One of the young kid, the baseball player Ben Sachs that comes in once in a while.
Yeah.
He works with us.
Yeah.
The tall slim
kid I met last night.
The puppy, the poodle, we took out with us. Yeah. He showed me a video New York City, 3 New York City police officers trying to arrest somebody.
They won't take them down. They won't put hands on. It's Mike. It's embarrassing.
Wait a minute. The guy got up, got in his car, and left.
Yeah,
But Eric Adams is pushing this agenda.
it's nuts. You know, John, he'll tell you. So the one thing they always taught you in the academy, and it was sound, right? Control the same as on the street.
Right.
Control the situation. You get a guy down. You put handcuffs on him. Nobody's getting hurt.
Right.
Nobody. But there's been this idiotic notion has sprung up in the past. I would say since Obama, 2008, his inauguration of 2009. That a police interaction has to look nice.
Look, it's got
to look nice. It's got to look polite.
You can't.
That's not what happens.
That's not what happens.
You don't call the police because everything's going right in your life. Right?
It doesn't work that way.
And that's the problem. And so they're worried about these 30 seconds of video and these optics. It's become very dangerous out there. And the cops are afraid to put hands on. And I think that's why, I hate to say this, I hate to Monday morning quarterback. You know, we were on a job, midnight car stop, felony car stop, high risk area, guns are out. Fuck out of the car, everybody hands.
Yeah.
You do that now, you get fired. So what's happening? The bad guys are coming out blasting, cops are getting killed.
Oh, no.
That's
not.
You know what the problem is? And again, the leadership, doesn't understand the areas, the street, the situations. And I'll say it from a guy who was from the street on the opposite side.
Yeah.
I understand the police mentality because I understood our mentality. So
That's a good point. It's a great point.
And I said the training has to be different so these cops can stop getting killed.
That's right.
But if the leadership doesn't allow it, like you guys are saying, it's not going to happen. One of the good things about President Trump was he was from our neighborhood. He was from Jamaica.
He's a Queens guy,
yes.
yeah.
He lived right on the opposite side of me. So he knew that whole section.
Yep.
He understood South Jamaica. He understood Jamaica States where he was. He understood.
We're not saying he had all kinds of fights in the street.
No,
What
he
he's
was
saying is-
exposed
He knows
to
the
it.
area. He knows the people.
He
And
grew up
he
there.
grew up on construction
Yeah,
sites.
he grew up construction
And
sites.
he grew up, but
He understood the mob mentality.
I know you got another guest, but John
He did
just-
understand that. We're not in a rush.
Quick point though. John touched on something real important.
Oh, go ahead.
When I moved down to Florida, 2004,
Right.
and I stayed pretty active in the law enforcement community.
Did you really?
Yeah. I mean, I worked with them and
Okay.
with
No.
some things I did in the private sector.
Okay.
But one of the things that struck me was the difference in training. So when you look at a sheriff's department, which are typically right wing,
Right.
On the right, and you look at their training doctrine in the NYPD, the gun is like an afterthought. It's discouraged. But that's the highest liability thing you're ever going to do is draw your weapon for deadly force, right? Down here, it's encouraged. High liability training is a major component. They call it high liability training down here. Your guns, non-lethal devices, physical. That's a major component of police certification in a place like Florida. Wow. Then these sheriff's offices go even further with their in-service training. You shoot more often. NYPD, you go out to the range twice a year, you qualify, you shoot some paper.
Rodman's neck.
Very different down here.
Rodman's neck, you get
And
drunk.
if you look at the redder states, you'll notice there are fewer incidents of use of force that are controversial. Sure, you're going to have them. And look, I think all of these incidents of use of force are blown out of proportion because you've got about 150 million police-public interactions yearly.
Yeah.
And that's anything from you flagging at a cop saying, hey, I'm lost, to a felony. Stop.
Interaction. Yeah.
We're seeing anecdotally a handful, 11 incidents a year that are questionable. It's not even newsworthy.
Right.
But they make it seem as if cops are indiscriminately killing people. And they're not. But the training has a lot to do with
Well,
it.
I think the training, here's the problem, too. Mitch Little is chief of police in Ocean County. Became a friend of mine. I do talks for him.
Ocean County, New Jersey.
Yeah, Ocean County, New Jersey. He's got great programs for his police officers, for the community. I go to his schools that he teaches at. I talk there. I talk at his academies. I was involved in some of the techniques they use. Here's the problem. We discussed this, and I discussed this with other officers. When you take a kid like me, white, black, or Spanish, Indian, whatever, but they're raised like me,
Street
and you
kid.
pull me over, a street kid, you can't talk to me. So this is where the training needs to come in.
Right.
You cannot speak to me as you're speaking to, say, my dad who was going to comply.
That's right.
Because when they teach you to speak firm and tell them, put your hands up, and I go, fuck you, now what? What happens at that point? Because my mentality back then was, fuck you. Now, it's not my mentality today, but the street kids that think like me from before. Yeah. So what does that officer do at that time? And I don't think they're getting the right understanding or training to know how to handle them. They know how to deal with the person that complies. But the person that says no, where does that elevate to?
But John, you know why? You nailed something so important. Because, I'm not trying to be funny here at all, because it's a critically important topic. You just nailed something so important. Because they are terrified
I know they are.
to teach that in the academy, because that'll be called racist training doctrine. race has nothing to do with it, but they're going to say, well, what they really mean is that black kids are more prone to violence, and they're training the cops to be more heavy-handed with black kids. They stop, and what happens? A bunch of politicians, especially in cities, nope, scratch that from the curriculum, get rid of it, and it would save lives. It would save the kids' lives and the cops' lives.
You made a point before when you said about you lend it to the fact that there was a benefit to these shootings, like i.e. 11 critical shootings that were
controversial. Yeah,
controversial. Yeah, but if you notice, they weren't controversial in the red states.
No,
that's what I'm saying. So those controversial shootings, what they are is there's a political gain to them being controversial.
You know what, Mike? It's funny you say that. So I had a
That's
conversation.
really what I was
right before the election. I had a conversation with somebody. Well, actually, right after when Biden won, but he started to fall off, and we saw a big red wave in the midterms.
Right.
And somebody said, we could go through a laundry list of what that is. But one of the things I think really hurts them with Democrats, with their own people in states like Florida and Texas, because I live in Broward County, right? It's blue county, but pretty common sense, them. You don't have the radical crazies. So you've got these soccer moms that vote Democrat because they think it's nice.
It's cute. Yeah.
But you know what they also vote for? They vote for that marked car with the uniform cop off duty to sit in the HOA driveway at night.
That's right.
Because they want their kids to go to sleep safe.
Right.
You cannot sell defund the police to those Democrats.
Right.
And that's where the Democratic Party made a big mistake. They lost the suburban moms. Right. With that talking point alone, they lost a big portion of suburban moms who grew up saying, it was nice neighborhoods, the cops weren't heavy-handed. No, I want the cops outside. I like seeing that car. That's not. I don't feel oppressed.
I'm not afraid of the police because they're here.
I want them parked.
They're not beating me and my kids up.
That's right. Assess us $10 a month at the HOA to pay him to be here every night, or $100 a month they would pay. Right. That's where they lost a lot of people.
Yeah.
Let me ask you another question. Change gears for a second.
Yeah.
I got a strong opinion on this, and I think I'm not with the rest of the country or the media or the propaganda. In my opinion, the Ukrainian and Russian war.
You said this wasn't an opinion show. First off, all right, but go ahead.
Hit him with the water again.
He said that before.
What about it though? But
I didn't give my opinion in it yet. I just
okay.
Agree with
but yes, where I stand.
Where you stand on it.
Look, I'm an American.
Why is America?
I'm an America first guy. That means America first. Right. So, for me, you got two sovereign nations who have had conflicts for a hell of a lot longer than any of us have been on this earth. Putin made his move. I've got suspicions as to why.
So do I.
But
so do I.
Let's also be realistic. In international politics, nobody is a truly good actor.
Okay.
Ukraine did a lot of things to our country.
Okay.
Right? 100%. I mean, they screwed with our elections as much as Putin did, depending on which side you're on.
Right.
And I don't want to see one drop of American blood spill for a conflict that doesn't affect our country.
Okay. In my opinion, that he said I can't have anymore.
No.
I agree with you. What I said, and I'll make this very clear again. Unfortunately, the citizens and people suffer. The children, the men that got to go out and fight, whether they want to or not. Of course. And this is a shame.
That's who I feel bad for.
So do I.
Yeah.
But our country has an agenda since Obama with Putin. And when you look at the media and they give one side only, like they did to Donald Trump, in my opinion, that way attack, and the media we caught them lying in 100 different between the Russian coordination with Trump, which wasn't true. We all know.
The collusion. That never existed. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the problem I have with this is Zelensky of Ukraine also jailed his
dissidents, his political opposition,
his media.
That's what I'm talking about, John.
Yes.
Yeah. I didn't want to go to weeds, but you're going where I was going.
Okay.
They both have done the same thing.
Exactly. And he's not part of NATO. And again, this isn't our war. Why do we always jump in?
And we shouldn't be jumping into this one.
And as bad as I feel for these kids, and then politically, they should blame their presidents for not.
We can have compassion and sympathy for the refugees and the grandmother who lost her home.
It's horrible.
You'd be a demon to not feel.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean American blood should spill.
Yes, but the coup.
And I don't know how much I can believe on what we're hearing because I
don't believe any of it.
Media does.
And I'm going to say this to you as a guy that worked in that world. Both Russia and Ukraine, if you want to give either of those countries credit, have tremendously effective propaganda machines, especially digital propaganda machines. hackers,
Ukraine
media
also
dissemination.
has chemical labs there.
Yeah, and we don't even know where they are, what's real, if Russia has it.
Yeah, right. And
there's
how
so
much
misinformation and disinformation in this conflict that I think the United States. Now, look.
I think we used it because of the inflation and because
I think we have an inept, incompetent administration. I think Anthony Blinken, is probably this guy. I didn't think you could get worse than John Kerry at Secretary of State, and here comes in Blinken with "Hold my beer." I mean, he is just horrible. But I've spoken to career State Department people who tell me, "Where'd he come from? We've been at the State Department X years." Because here's the thing: people don't understand. Your bureaucrats at state are all lefties,
right?
But your foreign service officers, the guys that have been on the ground alongside the agency, CIA, and our tier 1, they're not. They've seen evil up close. They're strapping on vests and they're strapping on guns and they're out in the field, making deals, dropping money. So they get it. When you talk to these guys, and I went out and shot with one on last Saturday, he's like, this guy was a non-entity. He's been at state 21 years, this guy. Yeah, Blinken was a guy who was around, but he was never that talent that anybody thought would ascend to Secretary of State. But you know what? He played ball with all the right people in D.C. He went to the right dinner parties. He donated money to the right people. He palled around with all the right people on the left, and they knew he was a malleable, empty suit to stick in there. And we're seeing some devastating things globally. If Trump were still in office, we wouldn't be having this conversation because Putin never would have made the move.
Like Trump or not, for the people who do or don't, the world was safe.
Very safe. We had peace and prosperity under Trump.
The war
That's
on this
indisputable.
country, and I've said it last week, and I'll say it again, the war on this country and our border kills 150,000 kids this year from opioids. 150,000. How many kids are dying in that? And again, my heart goes out to the families and the children that are dying in Ukraine.
Of course.
But maybe 1,500?
That's right.
So why isn't the war being taken care of at our border with the open border with drugs that are coming in?
And John, take it a step further. You're talking about the 150,000 deaths that are the direct result of drug intake.
Yeah.
What about the residual crime around it?
100%.
The murders in Chicago, Detroit, St. Louis. Those are all.
And Bryce said it, the UFC fighter.
You know, and I know from all different perspectives. Of those murders, 12,000 homicides in the U.S. a year, I would argue 80-something% are drug beefs.
10,000.
Right? 80-something% are drug beefs. Money, right?
And we got a half a
You
million.
guys
we got a half a million
I have to
people
ask
sitting
your
on,
opinion
sleeping
on
in the
this.
street.
Yeah.
I have to ask your opinion on this. Before, and John, you can fill in on this, and as we end the segue here into the next show we're going to do. Putin, before this war took place, there was a lot of admiration for him in America. Would you agree with that?
You know, I think there was. Look, Russia was a trading partner, so it was a weird real quick, and people need to understand when they say Putin's crazy, Putin's this. This is a brilliant guy. Right. I'm not supporting Putin,
no one is.
But as an honest analyst,
right,
and as a guy who now works with a lot of former intelligence people in my,
you saw admiration for him in this country.
Even, take admiration out. You got to understand the genesis and the ascension of Vladimir Putin. So when people go, he's crazy, he's nuts. No, he's a smart guy. Right. Typically, when you rise through the ranks and you become what they're calling the president now, the premier, prime minister, but really it's the old head of the Politburo, right? Yeah. You were a Moscow guy. You were like a DC guy. Right? You were a Moscow guy. Putin was an obscure KGB colonel in St. Petersburg. Those guys, maybe they get a general star, maybe they don't. They retire, they get a nice pension, they get a nice house, they get a job with some oligarch, they make good money. For him to go from an obscure a colonel in St. Petersburg to taking over, that takes a lot of cunning. That's your old world. Yeah. Because this, in Russia, it's not political. No. That's more your old world, your skill set, than it is political. And you know where I'm going. Yeah. You got to be sharp. You got to know how to earn. And, look, I believe.
Well, he went in as a mayor, I believe, first.
Well, as a mayor, but his real power base was developed as that colonel.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, 100%.
Arguably, and I think the intelligence estimates on it are correct, he 70? Squirreled about 200 to 300 billion for himself. Yeah. And why I believe that. Why I believe that is
unbelievable.
This.
And we at the Berman firm do not support that.
Well, here's why I believe that. So look at the numbers. A lot of people don't realize this. Russia's GDP on the books is 1/5 that of Japan. Right? 1/4. I'm sorry, a quarter of Japan. Russia right now is 1.4 trillion. Japan is 5.6. That's recorded. But when you tally up all the money Putin and the oligarchs have stolen, maybe it's not. Because if you're looking at the performance initially in this conflict, I believe that Putin was throwing expendable conscripts and old weapons at the conflict to have the Ukrainians expend their munitions, and he was going to re-equip, bring in his Spetsnaz guys.
Right.
I don't know. Now it's starting to look like He just didn't have the money to train and maintain equipment and service equipment and buy the proper gear.
Because they was taking it. They were taking it all.
They were taking it all. Yeah. And it's really starting to look like he sent an untrained force in. And the only reason when you're a global power, your force is untrained is you don't have money.
Right. Yeah. So from that end, to that end, so there was some admiration before this. I think today he's looked at as a scourge now. And
I think it was more respect for his abilities and admiration.
There was some, not great love, but like, yes, a cautious optimism.
Like he's a cunning guy. Right. Don't underestimate him.
Right. So now, after this disaster has taken place, I'm going to admit this is an international crisis, a disaster.
Certainly.
Okay. 100%. So now I look at him this is the lens of a guy who's not that political, really. I'm not like politically.
No, you're not.
I'm not very political, but I'm informed a little bit.
You're interested in it, and you do study it,
right?
But you're not ideological.
Correct. Now I think that's a good yes. So I look at Putin, and then I say, China jumped on his back, right?
Right.
Now China, if I'm China, I feel China going like this. You know what? This is looking ugly.
Well, this is what's interesting.
I'm trying to get a little.
But even worse,
to separate myself.
They don't.
Am I correct?
Yes.
You get the feeling? Am I feeling this right?
No, you're dead right.
To me, it's a feeling.
You're right
because I know I don't talk to these people.
But here's the problem.
I don't talk to these people, Evan.
China and Russia are natural enemies.
Right.
They're natural enemies for a host of reasons: energy and ports, and the weakness in this administration in the United States has driven a Sino-Russian alliance where none existed.
Yeah. Right.
We're non-existent. We should have been in a position to drive them further apart, like Trump was doing.
Right.
They brought them together because why wouldn't they?
Well, you got Russia mediating between us and Iran with their nuclear deal.
It's the most bizarre, and you've got Biden flying guys down to Venezuela to talk to Maduro, a brutal dictator, to beg for oil. That Maduro doesn't have the money or resources to get out of the ground.
I said it again. I'll say it again. As president, his job is to follow our Constitution and America first. That's what he swore on.
Every president.
Every president.
Yeah. So my point, I think, I'm not sure I got the answer from you. Initially, when they got together in bed,
no,
do you sense that
yes,
they're no longer the bedfellow?
Well, yeah, because China's looking at what's happening to Russia now.
They're looking at the disaster.
Listen, the Chinese are the biggest capitalists in the world. When they open like the Grand Havana Room in Beijing, it sells out in like 32 minutes for 6 times the price the buy-in would be in New York.
Right.
Chinese, where they tell you they're communist, these people are the biggest capitalists on the
American
planet.
Express,
they have billionaires in China.
Citibank, Coca-Cola, all these big companies.
Yeah, they don't want to lose all
they're
that.
Pulling out of Russia.
Yeah. And
I don't think China wants to lose that.
And Mike, here's the other problem for China.
Am I wrong? Am I onto something or not?
You are onto something because here's what everybody.
I know I'm not always
here's what nobody.
Right at this.
Here's what nobody. Everybody loves to fearmonger. China's a big red threat. Big red threat. If you go to China, a lot of smokestacks. 99% of them are making shit for us. Right. If we stop by, China is a country, so is Russia, living check to check on payday loans after they can't, that check's not enough.
Right.
They are not the economic powerhouse everybody makes them out to be. If we tomorrow said to China, fuck it, we'll do without Tylenol for a year. We're going to move everything to Argentina and Mexico, all the manufacturing. Yeah. China collapses. Right. So bad they might even go nuclear.
Right. That's why Trump was so good handling it.
Yeah,
he was a
businessman.
He knew
how to say
it. Level.
He knew exactly where he was going.
Where he could hurt them.
Yes.
100%.
Let me ask you one. Let me come
Let's go to good note.
I want to go to good note is right.
Yeah.
Let's go to my favorite thing.
Your
baseball.
Favorite pastime.
The Berman team, they run a lot of things for the kids and organizations for baseball.
Yeah. Good stuff.
And I love it.
Locally here.
Yep.
And so let's talk baseball. What do you think now that the strike is over?
It's back on, but I'll tell you what. I'm very upset with pro sports on the whole.
Me too.
Because, and I grew up watching the Yankees. We all did.
I'm a Met fan.
I grew up in Queens.
You grew up in Queens,
but I was
right by the stadium.
I was a cop in the Bronx.
Yeah.
But I wish the leagues would take politics out of the game.
Yeah, they really hurt us.
I wish they would take politics out of the game.
Yeah. This is the owner's fault because all the owners jumped into BLM and different things
and want to be woke.
No business in.
Go woke, you go broke.
They should stay in because again, this is back to let me go back to the kids. Just what the Burma team's doing. They're not doing this. They do this because they look out for the kids
want to look out for the
communities.
Kids. And it should be fun.
And Mitch, I was talking about early Ocean County.
Yeah.
He looks out for the community. They
John,
got the right idea because they're looking out for the children and the young youth.
And it should be fun.
And it should be fun. And
it
when you lose the fun in something,
it
becomes a job and work, and you lose you lose the direction what you're trying to accomplish.
Especially now, people have political fatigue, and if Major League Baseball really wanted to win, they would take politics out of the game. They would take politics out of the game, and they would make it very public and they would run a PR
You're
campaign
right. You know what? That
on
would
the
be
fact.
a great campaign.
You know what? The world is too political.
Leave your colors
The world is
outside
too political. Leave your colors outside.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
right.
yeah.
In here,
Please,
you're all fans.
please, we're all fans.
The only sides that matter here are.
I want to high five the guy next to me and not wonder if who's
That's
voting
right.
for tomorrow.
That's right.
Is that a fair
No,
statement?
it's a fair assessment. I think pro sports.
Because if I know you hate me because I voted for somebody, and then how can I sit there and cheer for
And
the
the
same
other thing
team?
they need to do is figure out a way to bring games back down to 2.5 hours. These 4.5 hour games, they're boring.
Oh, forget about the 4.5 hour games. Forget about those $500 prices.
Yeah.
Bring it down so normal families
Well, that's
can
it
go
too.
to the games.
The normal families can go to the games, right? Bring the merch down to where a jersey's down $180.
Hit the
so you can buy if you have two
the
kids.
advertisers.
For the
hit
money, of course,
advertisers
you
on
can go to
TV.
Disney World for the weekend.
Exactly. No. But look, I think if these leagues got back, I think the NFL's too far gone. But Major League Baseball is in a unique position here where they could lead on this. They just dodged a real dicey situation that might have put the season in jeopardy.
Yeah.
They have a win right now. You want to win bigger, depoliticize the game.
Yeah.
Depoliticize the players, depoliticize the teams. One of the things that really bothers me
And
is
of course,
idiotic renaming of teams. And
You're a Yank fan. Who do you pick this year to go?
I haven't even yet.
Yeah. Well, you haven't been in
Too
touch.
early.
I haven't been in touch either. Because
It's too early.
I haven't touched.
All I know is, and one piece of advice is,
But let's go Mets.
the Washington Nationals have to change their logo. It looks like Walgreens. Every time I think I'm watching Walgreens baseball team, I don't know who the hell approved that. Like, who's the one person in Brandy that never walked into a Walgreens?
We have the TBT.
There's one on every other corner.
We have a TBT logo.
No,
here
is it
for-
me?
for
Is
the
it not?
The Berman Law Firm.
Does it not look exactly like the
100%.
Walgreens logo?
Yes, I would
But
say that.
look, I just hope they pull that out of it, right? Because if they can pull that, baseball's the one sport, America's pastime.
Sure.
It's not the left's pastime, and they've made it that. And I think they've turned a lot of people off.
Yeah. On that note,
Thanks, John, for having you.
Anytime, my friends.
Coming in, and we'd love to have you back as usual.
Anytime you want.
Yeah.
We have a great time with you. Great.
Always.
Yeah. You got a great insight into a lot.
hey,
of
say
things.
hello to our friend Bernie.
Oh, Bernie Carrick, yeah, good
Is he
buddy.
doing okay?
He's doing great. He was actually here and he just left.
Okay,
He
good.
flew out today. Yeah, no,
Good.
Bernie's doing very, very well, and he's. I mean,
What a nice
You know
guy.
what happened to him? Yeah,
Yeah.
he's like
We love
family.
to catch him. Anybody, if you like the show, please hit the subscribe button. If anybody out there needs an attorney, a good attorney, this company is one of the best around.
The Berman Law Firm?
team, the Berman Law Firm. And contact us, contact them directly. Go to my website, johnelite.com. Go to my Instagram, TrueJohnElite. And merchandise, baseball bats that are signed, and pictures, photos, any of the upcoming events, it's all on my website. Facebook, we're on it all. Thanks again, everybody, for watching us, and we'll see you soon.
Morning and